part of the process of any kind of success is also going through some low points or some failures. And so today, instead of telling you about something that I did well or excelled at, I'm going to tell you something that I failed at. And this is a hard story for me to talk about because what I remember was it was something I didn't feel great about that after it happened. It was just also a very tough time in my life. But what had happened was I got a call from a good buddy of mine, and he said, hey, there's a summer workshop coming up and I want to know if you can teach it. And then also there's a concert for it that they play for the faculty and all the students for the summer, and if you can do that as well. And so, at the time I said yes to pretty much everything, and this was a real good friend of mine, and I would do anything for this guy, so I agreed to do it. Well, unfortunately during that time, after that, my grandpa passed away, and that was a really difficult thing for me because my grandpa and I were very close. He helped raise me, and when he passed, it was somewhat unexpected. We weren't, anticipating him going that quickly, and so it was really hard for me. Plus, it was the first person in my life that I really was connected to and loved that I had lost. So, if you have any experience of that, it's horrible, and just how you're dealing with that, it's very low point. So I was dealing with that. Now at the same time, my wife and I had our trip to England planned. Every year we went to England to see her grandma, and so this was already scheduled. It had been scheduled for a long time. So my grandpa passed, and then a few days later we're on a plane to England. Well, this concert was a couple weeks away, and so I go to England. I have my guitar, and before I left, I didn't really do a lot of practicing with this. And then while there, I tried to focus and I tried to learn. We had maybe 8 songs. It was like an hour show that I had to learn. And they were just cover songs, classic rock songs. They weren't anything overly difficult, but I remember they do songs like Hard to Handle by the Black Crowes. We had Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix. And so I had to learn these songs, and going through the death of my grandpa and being in a foreign country, and it was just a very, very hard time for me. So what happened is when we get back, I think the concert was like the next day. Like we get back from England, and the next day the workshop starts, and then we have the concert. And the concert was the very first day of the workshop. And so I got there, and I didn't know any of the band members. I didn't know, we had never played together, and we had never rehearsed these songs together at all. So it was just kind of like get there, do a sound check, and then they're gonna let the people in, and then we're gonna play. So they let everyone in, all the students and all the faculty, and we play, and I just play horribly. I'm not prepared properly. I don't play well. Just my mind was not there. And so I didn't feel great after the concert, because there was a few songs that were great, and there were some songs that weren't so great. But I got a call later on that night from my buddy, and it had turned out that next semester I was going to teach a class for this school. And he called me, and because my performance was so bad, they actually didn't want me to teach that class. Like, that's how much I sucked. And I felt really bad for a couple reasons. One is that, mainly, I felt that I let my friend down, right? So he had trusted me with this gig, and I had let him down. Because even though it wasn't, in the grand scheme of things, all that important, it was just that letting him down, I felt really disappointed in myself. And then, just the embarrassment of playing bad in front of your colleagues or other students, it's just something that is tough to swallow. So anyway, I remember feeling really low after I got that call. And remember, I was already feeling bad due to the death of my grandpa. I was still recovering from the jet lag, coming home. I wasn't prepared. So I was already feeling bad already. And this made me feel worse because it was one of those things that what happens if this guy will never call me again for anything, right? That was my opportunity to impress him and do something, and then that was it. I can't trust Terry because I remember this concert he didn't do very well in. So I was also worried about that. So there was a lot of things going on from that. But the thing is that you have to always push through these situations. You have to somehow find, either a positive or something that you can learn from this experience so it won't happen again. Now I know that's a cliche and that everyone says that, but what you got to do is you got to think back to the situation. And now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, why did I even take the gig, right? Because I was already going through a lot with my grandpa being sick, and then he passed away, and then going to England. So I should have either one, not even done the gig, because I knew I wasn't going to have time to be prepared, or mentally I wasn't going to be in a right state of mind to prepare. Or after my grandpa passed, I should have just called and said, look, this happened. Is there any way that we can find a sub? I mean, this is LA. We could have found tons of people that could have stepped in and done a great job. So that was one thing I learned, right? If you're not prepared, or you're going to have to put the time in to do something to where you want it to be, you know, if you want to really do it at a high level and you're not going to have the time, then you shouldn't take it, because one, you can embarrass yourself like I did. Two, you can let people down. Now, the good news is that didn't hurt our friendship, and that we ended up doing a lot of cool things afterward, working with a lot of great bands and doing a lot more projects afterwards. But you know, it's, for me, even to this day, it's still something that's in the back of my mind of just of like, you know, how I never want to let him down again like this, and that if, you know, the situation comes up when we work together, I'm always going to put in my best effort and make sure that I have the time to put in my best effort. So hopefully you take something out of this and just realize that you're going to have a lot of successes in your career, but you're also going to have a lot of failures as well. And so you have to learn how to deal with those failures the best you can, and then also learn from them the best that you can.